Okay, so first key thing in understanding energy systems is the role of adenosine triphosphate, or ATP as we'll call it from now on. In class we refer to this, and it's a nice little analogy, is the body's energy currency. So when we are trying to do muscular work in the form of exercise or sport, the muscles rely entirely on ATP to provide the energy they need. And we've seen this last semester in functional anatomy as ATP being broken down to help with the recycling of cross bridges during sliding filament theory. So as we know, we gain energy from our diet in the form of carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and we'll also introduce phosphocreatine in here. But what we have to do before we can use them for exercise is we have to transfer the energy from those sources into adenosine triphosphate to be used. Okay, so again, ATP, the only thing that muscles can directly use to energize their work for exercise. Key then is releasing the energy from ATP. So a very simple drawing there of an ATP molecule and one adenosine, 3 phosphates attached to it. Now, again, we talked about it lots and lots and lots this semester. Within chemical compounds, energy is stored within the bonds. So those nice lines in between the separate components. So we've got phosphate bonded to the adenosine 3 different times. So each of those bonds maintains a sort of store of energy. So we have to release that energy if the muscles are going to be able to work. So that happens through a process called hydrolysis. Water, H2O, added to the ATP, and that stimulates the reaction which breaks the bond of one of the phosphates. So it breaks a high phosphate bond, energy is released, and that allows the movement to occur. Okay, so that's that process of hydrolysis. We're then left with one adenosine attached to 2 phosphates, adenosine diphosphate, or ADP. All reactions are controlled by enzymes in the body. So enzymes are a biological molecule, normally made out of proteins, which have the job of catalyzing, so speeding up reactions. Hydrolysis of ATP is catalyzed by ATPase. So again, anytime you see that sort of suffix ASE, A's on the end of a word, that's meaning that it is an enzyme. And the prefix, in this case ATP, kind of gives you often a clue as to which reaction that might be controlling. So ATPase is catalyzing the hydrolysis of ATP, which releases energy and gives us ADP. So if exercise is to continue, we need more ATP. So we have to reattach a phosphate. We've got to turn an adenosine diphosphate back into a triphosphate. So if breaking a bond releases energy, building a bond means we need to put energy in. So we have this reaction, phosphorylation. Okay, we put energy in, create the bond, reattach the phosphate to the adenosine diphosphate, and now we have 3 again, adenosine triphosphate. The energy for that comes from those other fuel sources that we can use, phosphocreatine, carbs, fats, proteins. And again, because this is a chemical reaction, it is catalyzed by an enzyme, in this case ATP synthase. Kind of makes sense, right? Synthesizing ATP. So that's the fundamental basis of all exercise. That's the fundamental basis of all energy systems, and something we really need to focus on. The content of all the videos to come, when we look at the different energy systems, will be how we get the energy to phosphorylate ADP into ATP.